Welcome back to Crown's Crypto Cave, and hey, happy Friday. You made it all the way to Friday. It's Cryptocurrency Friday. We got CMEs expiring a little bit later today, but first things first, hey, hope that you're having the best day possible, the best ever Friday that you could ever have until next Friday, and I'll wish you an even better Friday. Anyways, let's get into the live scene right over here as Magic Internet Money is doing something very interesting in the early morning hours. And first things first, let's actually mark off the most important areas to be aware of. We got this guy right over here, 6,100. As long as we're below there, still, I'm always going to be questionative. Do we have the actual bottom in? Of course, there's going to be signs beforehand, but that would be my ultimate area for it. If we do start getting back above there, don't really have any reason to be looking for lower lows at that point in time, and I'll be looking for long-term hodls. Of course, very far away though. So 6,100, the area to be watching. And you can notice now that basically all of our moving averages up until the 200 are actually below this 6,100 area right here. So what is that telling you? That's telling you that literally, just think of it in like literal terms, the moving averages for the 100 exponential and lower are all below that area. So we are trending, we are very, very comfortable staying below this 6,100 level, and we will likely remain below this area for the foreseeable future. But that doesn't mean that we can't have little rallies here and there in between. In fact, I think that while I am overall, bearish, thinking that we do have lower lows in store, for the current moment in time, I'm not necessarily certain that I do believe that this rally actually does get a little bit more extension right now. But let's just mark off the most important areas to be aware of right now. So I'm going to do this right there, and now we need to go down to lower time frames. It's going to like the hourly, as that's where a lot of the action is going to be happening. You can see that Bitcoin's actually having some red dildo party action going down right now, but 6,100 area is the area to be watchful of. We spoke about this during last night's stream, and I think a lot of people are looking at this as a head and shoulders right here. It's not. This is not a head and shoulders. You don't really have a well-defined neckline or anything like that. If anything, it was an ascending triangle that is about to confirm a break of that pattern. So as usual, there's really not too much to be doing right now. I believe that we just need to kind of wait and watch this one kind of unfold. I don't think that we have enough information just yet. Again, I can't stress this enough. If you want to make trading easier on yourself, just wait for at least this weekly's dildos close and perhaps even next weekly, as I want to see if we close above or below the 200 exponential moving average, which is currently right around, let's go confirm this guy, right around this purple line right over here at around 41.75 on stamp. So if we close above or below that, that's going to be the next big kind of trade, in my opinion. If we close above it, then very, very likely we start making our way towards 45.50 and perhaps 4,800 after that. That would be kind of the range that I'm looking for, actually 4,800, a little bit more so. If the weekly closes above that 200 exponential, again, 41.75 on stamp. If it closes below, then that would put a lot more pressure on price action, and we would probably start playing the downside out a lot more sooner than I think that than I'm really thinking right now. But again, just kind of talk about how important this area is going forwards here. We are currently right at the 786 Fibonacci retracement right over here. Give or take a few bucks, but hey, it's close enough. It's close enough when you're talking about something that's, traveling $20,000 fucking dollars. And you're also kind of resting on this 200 exponential. We're actually about a couple ticks lower right now, but again, it closes at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. So, a lot of time for anything to happen, and that is why I think it's a little bit best to be watching and waiting, and all that kind of good stuff. Anyways, we got, we're also kind of hanging on to this lower high volume node, the kind of like one of the last ones that we have really until the high 2000s. So yes, I am, I do think that Bitcoin gets down to these levels at some point in time, but I Right now, I do believe that it's probably going to take a lot longer than most people realize. I think people are kind of getting trigger happy. We basically had $3,000 down from 6,000 over here. Now everyone's trying to be the fucking genius to short to short any little bounce. Well, you're going to have bounces here and there, of course, and the purpose of them is to shake out over leveraged traders, essentially take their money and then run it the other way that they were thinking before. So again, these sorts of things need to be taken in context of the current price action, and going down to the lower time frames, I think it does really speak to that. Anyways, I'm going to put back on the drawing tools right here. And there's a few other things kind of importance around this, 4550, 4600 area, which I do believe would probably be the top of the bounce if we do get there. Why do I say that? Well, as you can see right here, it's kind of like our top. It's like the top of the blue box territory right here. It's also the where the dotted trend line kind of meets price action at. Let's take off the volume profile, which is the 10-year logarithmic trend line of Bitstamp, which has never been broken except for last week, which it actually did confirm a break. And we already tested this area. I mean, you could certainly count that as a test. Perhaps we have rejected it already, and that would be the more bearish view of looking at this. But again, I need to see where the weekly closes first before calling this, before calling it, all said and done. It needs to be, this is a very important area in a very high time frame, so intraday action actually doesn't mean all that much here. If we do close the weekly below the 200 exponential, then yes, I will consider that a rejection of that and probably downside imminent. But for now, I think a lot of people just over trading, giving back their gains if they did get gains on this last $3,000 drop. So again, let's go back into our lower time frames. I'm gonna go over here to BitMEX because we've been charting on this guy recently. Now, this is going to be taken off the table for now. Let's just kind of focus on what we got in front of us. So, again, 4,100 still the area to hold, or I suppose 4,120 for the bulls. As long as bulls are holding that, I actually do think, and I do kind of lean towards maybe not more like a slow grind up, so to say, a slow grind up. Once you break 4,100, then yes, that kind of goes out the window, and we probably do, yes, you're very likely to come down to 40.40, but I think at that point in time, you'd probably really start initiating runs, back down into the 3,800 level right over here. So again, I'd be waiting for confirmation on that guy. Yes, I did just take that that horizontal out right there, but I just really want to be cognizant of this guy right here. It's going to start to align with the red 200 simple. I do believe though, if you break 4,100, yeah, you probably do. You probably do get make your way back into the 3,800 level right over here. So again, patience is going to go a long way in this market right now. Bitcoin is struggling to hold the 55 exponential on the hourly right now, so that is not a good sign. There are certainly signs pointing both ways, but again, I don't think it's appropriate to be aggressive either which way here. If you do break 4,100, then yeah, definitely there's a trade to be made. Just like when you broke. Well, I suppose we had this guy right over here, 4,200 last night. Once we broke that, yeah, you get $100 trade to the downside. But that's pretty much played out right now. So it's one of those things. I just want to be trading ranges here, not necessarily trading directional. Although I do feel that as long as you're above this 4,100 level right over here, the kind of like short-term direction is up, even though we are drooping down right now. Okay, anyways, let's go over and check out our 10-hour. I'm curious what the 10-hour is saying, as we are resting right on the 21 exponential. Not having a great reaction just yet. In fact, if we do take out even the wick of this guy right over here, which was 4,100 even, which, again, kind of agreeing with this horizontal area right here, I like that for good confluence, saying that, hey, that's the point where you do start saying, okay, we're probably heading back down, actually to about 3,900. And, I mean, really 3,800 at that point as well. This is going to look very nasty if Bitcoin does dump through this area right here, 4,100. It's just not going to look good from a technical analysis standpoint. Not that things always have to look good, but it's just something to be aware of, So here we go. 12-hour right over here. 12-hour is a rejection of the 21 so far. The 21 is starting to slope to the downside once again. So also not a good sign either. In fact, this is a little bit more damning than anything I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at the. I'm also looking at our RSI down around here, and we do. Yes, we did have bullish divergence, and yes, you played that out. Again, if you're in the technical analysis program, which by the way is on sale with the code BF20, links are in the description of this video. So I always forget to fucking talk about that at the beginning of the video. So guilty. Anyways, you did have some bullish divergence over here, but remember, interpreting indicators dependent upon what sort of market cycle we're in, what sort of market phase we're in. Well, you did try to test at the edge of your bearish control zone right over here. So be aware of that. You can't expect a bullish divergence to play out or have like the same sort of response as it would in a bull market as it does in a very obviously bear market right now. And yes, we are certainly still in a bear market. I mean, when you're creating lower half to lower half to lower high, you're probably in a bear market. So again, keep in mind the overall malaise of this market at the current moment in time. Now, if Bitcoin were to kind of reach back down into the 3,000 levels, still, yes, I would still actually be playing ranges more than anything, because 3,600 needs to be broken with force. It's going to become like that level around 6,000, especially with CMEs a little bit later today. Have to be aware of fuckery going around, because traders will be rolling their positions, traders will be rolling their risk and all that kind of good stuff. So again, there's probably going to be a lot of just floaty type shit going on right now, unless if you really have a full on break of this 41, what is it, 20ish area? Yeah, 41.20, which we're actually currently at right now. Low of this hourly dildo is 41.25. So, hey, it's definitely, I mean, we're obviously a lot more closer to breaking that area than we are to the upside. Again, breaking to the upside would have to be confirmed back above about 4,300, and 4,350 is really where that starts to become more into play. And yes, if that gets taken out, then yes, I do start looking towards 4,550, 4,600. So from a technical analysis standpoint, I actually do have to lean towards that happening as long as we're above this area right here. Just very basic stuff. And this is going to be the difference between someone, who just fucking sees, a red dildo party getting started and gets over eager and not understanding that, the market structure still actually has not been broken right now. So as long as this area is being held above, I do have to be looking towards that area. Am I taking trades for that area? No, actually I'm not. I'm not long at all. I'm not short. I guess I am kind of short right here, but I don't really consider it short because it's from 6,300. So it's just like in the background, like a passive type thing. So I'm just kind of sitting and watching, and I want to see the reaction along here. I will take a long if we do take out 4,300, and I'll take a small long if we take out 4,300, and then I will add to it if we take out 4,350. That's essentially my plan right now. And if we take out 4120, then I will essentially put on a scalp short as well, looking for these about 3,800, 3,900 right over here, which we can actually just shove a nice horizontal in while we're at it. Yeah, there we go, right over here. Around 39, 30-ish area, probably bounce over there and probably do make your way down over time. So, it's kind of at a critical juncture right now. It's not really giving you any sort of like major signals either which way. Just kind of flailing around, and I think frustrating a lot of people and getting a lot of overeager traders into silly leverage positions. Anyways, going into the overall market dynamics, let's go check out the longs on Finex. Longs are at around 28,500. So these guys are putting on positions, or they're actually kind of just flailing around right here. So actually kind of coming back to the mean right around 27,500. Certainly not good. You don't want this many longs on the table when you're below really 4,500. But it needs to be taken into context of the current price action, which shorts over here have actually been taking profit on that last red dildo dump. So shorts have been doing a very good job of running the market. The thing is that when you have these sorts of trending markets, it becomes a game between the longs and the shorts, the bears and the bulls, essentially, to kind of which one can maintain their equilibrium best. So, this was the break of 6,000 over here, doing it really, really well, shorting it all the way and then taking profit, then shorting it all the way, then taking profit. But you can see it's getting a degree less. So that is what tells me that we are getting a little bit closer to one of those just nice squeeze action areas. Now, of course, here's the thing. I don't want to become like all the other fucking people on YouTube and Twitter, talking about the shorts are too high, can't go higher. It's like, no. Of course, it can always go fucking higher. But what you really want to be aware of is that shorts will naturally have a higher equilibrium in a market that is under heavy bearish control. So yes, I do have this 30,000 level marked off right here, which in the more consolidation area type market and also bullish type market, that was when shorts were, a little bit overextended. Now that doesn't apply anymore. In fact, I would look for this to actually be kind of like the equilibrium around 30,000 for shorts to just kind of maintain above there, as they don't really have too much to worry about. And the fact that they are taking profit right now does kind of offer up the scenario where, they can keep on running the market, essentially, as that's, that is how you want to see it. You want to see, big move, take profit, big move, take profit. But over here, it is getting a little bit, it is getting a little bit more, on edge. So again, be aware of this, be very aware of this, because there will be a point where you will get one of those squeezes. And that's typically how it happens, is when the shorts get overextended, as the longs are essentially neutral-ish over here, neutral-ish, but they can get the problem with the longs is that they can get overextended a lot easier, and when they're not in control of the market, well, it doesn't really matter, right? So it's a delicate topic, is really what I want to say here, which needs to be taken into context with everything, all the moving parts. So that's what I have to say about that. Let's go check out the MVT signal again. Okay, so I need to be very, very clear and say this. I think I do believe Bitcoin's going lower. I believe it's probably going at least, to like the high 2000s, most likely. And perhaps, if it needs to go more, it'll go more. Again, we're just waiting for the last of the hodlers to capitulate, and then the markets will actually move to the upside. And it's typically how it works. Unless if 1200 is broken, at that point, Bitcoin's probably just not coming back. Or sorry, 1100 we could say, and we can go over that in just a second, as the monthly will be closing tonight, so we should talk about that. But hey, right over here, MVT signal. This thing has been calling the tops on Bitcoin, just about perfect ever since the fucking inception. Right over here, every time that it gets above where my cursor currently is at, around this 150 mark seen on your left hand side, that has been a major top. You got the parabolic top in 2013, parabolic top in late 2013, the bull trap in 2014, parabolic top in 2017, and a couple of bull traps in 2018, and then the big drop from 6,000 as well. So this thing is, nosediving right now. It's actually at the 100 mark, but you'll notice that every time that it does have one of these parabolic runs, it typically does kind of like reset itself, so to say, all the way down around here where my cursor currently is at least below 50, and actually more in some cases. So again, definitely has plenty of room to drop if you are going off this secondary thing to kind of confirm in the market, which I do like looking at. I do like these sort of just external things that typically aren't like that isn't really related to any other technical analysis factor, but does kind of agree with my ideas, saying that we're probably going lower, but it's probably going to take some time, right? It's probably going to take some time. Again, I'm not really like immediately bearish right here, unless really if 4100 is broken, then I'd feel comfortable, putting on another directional short. Most likely, I mean, 3600 obviously needs to be broken as well, but 3600 will become like the 6000 level essentially, where you smash into it and just really frustrate a lot of people over a long period of time. Again, typically speaking, December is like a slow up or slow sideways month when it comes to traditional markets, which we'll look at in just a second. But speaking of the monthly, which we will be getting a new one later tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, let's go over here to the monthly and see what he's saying. Okay, so the monthly, again, this is how we knew, okay, not that we knew, but this is how we thought that it was very unlikely to break 3,600 on the first pass, when we were kind of hanging down around there, even though that there was a bunch of tries below 3,600. They all got butt up relatively fast in a way, and having a decent move off the low. I think like a 10 to 15% move off the low so far. But what typically happens after that is now we get the real test, and we're going to see if we actually do want to break it next month. So I think, barring any sort of major price action before end of day at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, probably do end, somewhere in this range on the monthly. And, the monthly typically would say you're probably going to start filling out the range between the 55 and the 30 simple now. So the 30 simple is coming in around 4630-ish area, which again would kind of agree with our idea to like 4550 to 4600-ish area. As the next kind of like range, so to say. So again, this is what I'm looking at right over here. I do want to bring up a couple other things on this guy. I'm going to bring up the accumulation distribution indicator, the net delta indicator, just kind of show where it's at right now, because we will be getting a new tick later tonight, and I'm very curious. if it's going to be more the same slope. Essentially, I only care about the slope on this indicator. It's been essentially down ever since March. It basically called all the fucking tops for you just beautifully. So if this does start to lose its slope, then yes, that's a point when I do start to consider, okay, maybe this thing is over. But for right now, just straight down, we will get a new tick tonight, and I'd imagine that it's probably going to be at the same sort of slope as this as the past one. So I'm just going to get off that right there. Or actually, let's go to the weekly for a second. Yeah, weekly over here, weekly still ticking down as well, just getting into the red zone as well. Don't really care about the color of it. Not really like a color racist, but hey, daily over here, sharp turn up. So again, that's also why I'm not necessarily like, super bearish here. You also have the 10 simple on the daily kind of supporting price action, or at least initially. So right around, where is that? Around 40, again 4100. So again, 4100 really the area to be watchful of and cognizant of going forwards here. I think a lot of people are going to get caught up, probably over trading, or perhaps getting on the wrong side of the trade just in general right now, as I don't think that there's too much due from a directional standpoint. I think it's a time to be playing range. It's time to be really sitting back and watching, especially if you've made a shit ton of money over the last drop. There's it's your job to keep it now. Over here, 1 hour RSI trying to get into the bearish zone, but so far kind of getting, pushed right out of there. 1 hour Stochs, so turning down, so fair enough. What about 2 hour over here? 2 hour, hinting that they might be losing momentum, but not too much to say about that. Sorry, 3 hour right here. 3 hours still headed south, so that is worthwhile to consider in my opinion. 4 hour right here still heading south. So all the higher time frames are turning down. This is your 12 hour right here. Again, just kind of giving you mixed signals along the area. To me, that says that we're probably going to spend a lot of time going sideways here and like having a slow grind. Whether it's kind of sideways or up, that's essentially what I'm looking for. Unless if 4100 is broken, that's essentially my disposition. Again, coming from a technical analysis standpoint, that's really what I have to be saying and thinking right here. Otherwise, it's just kind of like hoping and wishing and waiting and all that kind of good shit. Is that a song? I don't know. Anyways, let's go check out CMEs because we will be closing CMEs later tonight. They are trading at a discount right now. So this is very interesting. This actually offers up an insight into what we will likely be doing when they close a little bit later, or like a little bit before they close is when the action goes down. But if the CMEs, because the CMEs are trading at a discount, and not if they're trading at a discount, they are trading at a discount, about almost $100 discount right now, which is significant. What is likely to happen? Well, there's going to be arbitrage opportunity, right? Where, you can buy CME contracts for $40.95 and you could sell the spot underline because it's literally at about $41.89 or $41.91, depending upon your exchange. So that is very much worth considering. That should put downwards pressure on price action. Or what we're seeing right now is actually that downwards pressure on price action actually being applied, which is what I think is more likely. And so when you actually do get the new contracts, you're probably going to get one of those quick moves, one of those whippy moves, and start switching it around just a little bit. So again, this is something worth considering. I think a lot of people, this is like a really misunderstood type thing. But again, same thing on CMEs, like as long as you're essentially above this level right here, above, 40.75, I look at this as just consolidation above a support. The fact that you popped back above this kind of gap area right here and are holding above this gap area is, I have to respect that as an analyst and as a trader, more importantly, until you actually break it. If you break it, then yes, you got to fucking trade, obviously. Right now, though, I just don't think that there's a trade to be made unless if you bought the test of the support, which I did not. I'm only looking to buy a breakout above this level right over here. I don't really have any interest in being long right now. I don't really have any. I mean, like I technically am short, but I'm happy to give up, a little bit of potential profit and kind of go back to delta neutral above here if we do get back above there. So that's essentially what I'm saying. Again, it's very difficult to relate these thoughts right now because I always fear that they're misinterpreted, which is kind of a silly fear to have to begin with because it's like you can never fucking guarantee that anyone's gonna hear what you say properly. Not that it's like any sort of dig at anyone. It's just human communication. It's not perfect. But what I'm trying to say is that hey, as long as you're above 4,100, yeah, I do lean towards a slow grind to the upside, probably like 4,550, 4,800 if things get a little bit more done. Again, weekly probably more important than anything. Weekly is more important than anything right here, but probably most people don't have the patience to be waiting for that. It's too fucking long, baby. But yeah, hey, if 4,100 gets broken, it's not necessarily that I'm like immediately bearish, but I will be looking for a trade to the downside. Yes, you do have support right over here at around 40.40. I think that would actually get blown through most likely, and you probably do make your way down to about 3,900, and that would kind of offer up the opportunity for us to really do, one of those 6,000 like just grinding in the fucking mud down around here, which I think is again, I'm not leaning towards that happening right now, unless if we break 4,100. That's essentially what I'd be thinking. Though, if that trigger were to happen, and if 3,600 were to be broken, then yes, I start looking towards our next blue box territory, which would be again that like mid to high 2,000s level right over here. Now we don't have any sort of measure move pointing us down there just yet, but we do have plenty of other things kind of suggesting down there. We have the 886 Fibonacci retracement, which is actually where you did have your capitulation spike low in 2014. We also have, if I put on the 200 simple moving average, it should be coming in around there as well. And let's just put that guy in there. Yeah, there we go. We have some nice horizontals coming around this area. And I believe that we have a nice high volume profile node coming in right around this area. Yep, indeed. There you go. Right there. Nice thick volume node. Kind of, same thing as like when you lost 6,000. It was just a straight shot down into this lower 4,000 area right over here. Well, you're likely to get a similar reaction if you break 3,600 because there ain't much holding you up from this area right over here. So again, you'll also notice though, if you do lose the 2,300 level, the bottom support of this guy, there ain't nothing doing until 1,200, 1,300, which again I probably should talk about for a second right now. There's like an unspoken rule that typically the highs of your prior market cycle become the lows of your next market cycle. So that would actually imply that Bitcoin could come all the way down to like 1,100 and still be, from a technical standpoint, okay. If it broke 1,100, then from a technical standpoint it would be considered very, very bad and probably an asset that's not likely to survive over time. It would imply that, there's probably some sort of like major fundamental, fuck up or something like that. So barring anything like that, then, it probably will hold up. Again, we don't have to get down there. Bitcoin doesn't always retrace all the way, and assets don't always have to retrace all the way down to their prior high of the prior market cycle. Just want to be aware of this if it were to happen, as perspective is what's, is really like the golden key in this market or any market really. With perspective comes opportunity. So not scariness, but opportunity. I want to be Mr. Opportunity, not Mr. FUD or fuck you. And again, you can see in 2013, we didn't really retrace the whole way all the way to the 2011 market cycle. In fact, probably better seen over here on the BLX index. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, in 2013 right here, you did not really retrace. I mean, yeah, it looks close to the 2011 market cycle, but when you actually measure this guy out, it was significantly higher. Yeah, about 133%. So literally like double, like literally fucking double. So, if you were double from 1100, that or 11 or 1200, that would be in the mid 2000s, right? So again, want to have the overall perspective on things. Bitcoin is doing things that are unprecedented right now. We don't really have a map for this for this territory when it comes to like the higher level exponentials, because Bitcoin has actually broken the purple 200 exponential and closed a dildo below for the first time in history, essentially. But again, when it comes to exponentials, I want to see an open and close below that to actually confirm a kill of it. Right now, we just have our first dildo closing below it, and we will have a chance to both open and close this week's dildo below it. That's why I'm saying, hey, if you want to make this easy on yourself, just wait for the fucking weekly. Just wait for that's all you have to do. You have one fucking job. Just wait for the weekly. And if we do close below the 200 exponential, which again 4180-ish area, then it's probably probably time to look for another directional trade, in my opinion. But for now, we are right at that area, and there's not really like an obvious trade to be made. So again, a lot of people just over trading and probably wasting their account when and then when the real move comes, you're going to be stuck in like some sort of fucking silly trade. I shouldn't say that. Like you're probably great, but the other people, they're terrible. Susie is a slut. No, just kidding. But hey, Bitcoin volatility index right over here, historical volatility index. Putting in perspective what we're doing right now. Bitcoin getting up all the way to 10, which it's actually topped out at like 20 before. So last week was quite volatile. This week we're certainly cooling off. So to me, that is also indicative that you're probably going to do a little bit of sideways, a little bit of bounce action, which we have bounced off the lows. I mean, don't get me wrong, like we have bounced off the lows a little bit. It's not super impressive. And again, another reason why I do not believe that this is the ultimate, low. The reaction is just not good enough. It's given you 2 chances to buy the low already, even on a weekly, which is that's not fucking good enough. If you don't get multiple chances to buy the ultimate low on an asset. We're currently about 20% off the lows, which decent. But again, remember, great example over here in 2014. How much percent were you off the lows within a week? Like literally over 69%. That's pretty crazy. What about in 2013 over here? I'm curious what this one says. In the next week, in the next few days, you really coming off your lows, which again you didn't get a second chance. You didn't get like a second wick down here. You're up 50%. Within a few days. Really is what it came down to. So over here, still not good enough. Volume on this, not really indicative of it either. It just, to me, that's like a major volume dildo down, and you're closing on your lows, which likely to lead to new lows. But for now, a little bit stuck in the mud action as you do flail around this current territory, 4150-ish area. Still holding above the hourly 55, but not looking the most. It's certainly not looking strong here. Don't get me wrong, but again, it's gonna be a slow grind most likely. I think action's really gonna slow down overall and start frustrating people again. Perhaps not as slow as like last October, but it's gonna be relatively slow compared to what we did on the way down, just like dropping hundreds of dollars a day, which was really really fun. Don't get me wrong, but. Things kind of go in an ebb and flow, like a wave, but not an Elliott wave. Anyways, let's go check out GBTC over here. GBTC closing down a quarter as well, so still actually respecting this horizontal right here. I believe I didn't make this on an hourly, but if we were to make it on an hourly, it would be right here. It's kind of filling that gap as well. So same thing, as Bitcoin above 4,100. So I just like that this agrees with what Bitcoin is doing, is saying, hey, as long as you're holding above this area right here from a technical standpoint, you got to respect it. But if you break it, GBTC is saying you don't really have anything stopping you from about $4.82.5, which would imply Bitcoin back down around 3,800 or 3,750, something like that. So again, this one does kind of help put things in perspective, as that that would be quite far ways down. I don't really see much stopping you on the way down. So again, yes, I do have those horizontals in around 38 and 39, but this would be suggesting, again, kind of what I was saying before. You're unlikely to stop there. You probably would make your way all the way down to like that 3,700 level, 3,750-ish area, over time. Okay, all right, let's go check out regular markets really quick, and then we'll probably start closing this bitch out. But regular markets over here, SPYs, closing the day down. But again, you're going to notice very similar shit to what's going on in Bitcoin, right? Basically, you're coming back down to your breakout point, essentially. And yes, it is a rejection of the 100 exponential on the 4-hour. Don't get me wrong, but until you actually break this area right here, it's just not appropriate to be like super bearish, in my opinion. Even then, same thing as Bitcoin. You got to break your 263 low first before it's like time to get full on fucking short it down to like 240-ish area. Again, I am bearish, just like Bitcoin, I am bearish on this asset. I don't know what long term means to you, but over the next few months. But it's probably going to take at least until January, maybe even February, when this thing really does start smashing through the 260 level and make its way down to like 240, and then 220 and 215 after that is my initial areas where I'm looking towards. So again, I like the good confluence between these things. Yes, they do have great workaround with each other. And you can see over here, we do have something very interesting on SPYs right here. And there is something to be very, very aware of. You are in danger of getting a daily dildo death cross right over here on the exponentials. That's a green 55 and the purple 200 right over here, closing below the purple 200, and a rejection of the daily 55 actually is, quite scary indeed, as it would imply that there is some sort of defense being played along this area right here. But again, I need to see this cross first, and that was just the first pass. So let's, we really have to wait and watch this one play out. Again, going back to, December being typically, the Santa rally is what they call it, the green dildo rally. Before the end of the year, so everyone can feel good about themselves before destroying all hopes and dreams in January. But again, if we do start to turn back down again today, if we even take out the low of yesterday at 272 and 43 cents on SPY, then this is going to become a lot more of a likelihood. You probably will head back down to your lows, and yes, that exponential moving average cross, death cross, will happen. Probably, I don't know, probably about a week, depending upon how far you get down. But again, needs to take out the low, and also take out the 21 right over here at around 271.5. So again, Friday typically an up day, but you never know. You never fucking know. So again, it's going to be, it should be, it's also end of month, so people are going to be rolling their positions and all that good stuff as well. 21 exponential coming in around 276. So if we do carry it onwards and upwards, and yeah, that's where I'll be looking to the upside for the weekly. Again, should be range bound, similar to Bitcoin, just kind of in a range, just slowly chugging along. Don't really think that we're going to be breaking out of this area over here or breaking below this area here, like right now, but probably over, maybe in like a month when we get the new year, then that's when the real market begins once again. So going back on a Bitcoin right over here, let's go down to lower time frames, see if we have anything else left to talk about. I'm sure everyone's talking about the bearish divergence on the 4-hour right here, which, yeah, you did have bearish divergence, no doubt about that. Not really done in the more critical zone, so it's not my picture perfect area. That's why I didn't really short that. And still kind of above your 21 over here. So I don't, I want to be respectful of it until it tells me not to. So I'm just kind of sitting back and watching the action. Again, I don't really think there's too much to be doing right now. 2 hour did lose a 21 over here, so that is not good. That is certainly not good. And that would be pointing a little bit further down. So, we have signs pointing both ways right now is what it comes down to. And, I still say watch for the big areas right here. Watch for the big areas. There's trades to be made on both sides, but not really like literally right here. Unless if you longed, 41.20 right here on that nice dildo down, 41.25 actually low, just perfectly smashing into there. I'd be getting out right here to be very, very clear. You do have a very small horizontal right here. It's not like a powerful one or anything like that, but it does exist right there, and we are respecting it right now. It also will be your hourly 200 exponential, so I do like the good confluence between those areas. If you break above there, you're probably heading back to 4,300. If you break above there, 4,350, and that's a point where I would start taking longs. Again, none of this financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but that is what I'd be doing, as I don't really see much stopping you above there till about 45.50ish area. So, again. That's kind of what I'd be looking for on the bullish side, on the bearish side, and I have to be leaning towards that, again, as a trader, and until we actually break 41.20ish area on an hourly. If we break 41.20ish area, yeah, you do have support right here and right here, but I do believe that you'd actually be making your way down at least to 3,800, and perhaps even a little bit below in this next blue box territory right over here. And at that point, it's like, well, why not even just test the 3,600 low right over here? So that's kind of the way that I'm looking at it right now. Just kind of playing it as it comes. Not really too much to be doing until 3,600 breaks, from a directional standpoint, and if we do start, climbing our way higher as well, it's gonna, it's always difficult taking long trades in an obvious downtrend, in an obvious bear market. So it's gonna be one of those things where you just gotta wait it out. Really, just gotta wait it out. I think a lot of people are like trying to see shit in the charts right now that it just doesn't exist, at least in my opinion. So that's essentially what I'm thinking. I hope that this one finds you well. I'll be back on a little bit later to do some more live analysis on a live stream near you soon. Look forward to see you guys there. If not, hope you have the best Friday possible, and take care.